Managing risk in the workplace. Hierarchy of controls. A hierarchy of control process is commonly used to manage risk and hazards. Generally speaking, the risk and hazards are assessed in the following order: remove, exchange, separate, modify, administrate, or PPE. ResMap is the acronym we use to help us remember these controls. Removal. Removal assumes that the hazard is completely eliminated or the risk of exposure to the hazard is removed. This is the ideal control solution. For example, removal of a noisy machine from a quiet area, or removal of fuels from the vicinity of smokers. Exchange. Exchange involves substituting a hazardous substance, machinery, or work process with a non-hazardous or less hazardous option. For example, using chemicals in liquid form as opposed to dusty powders, using non-flammable solvents in place of flammable ones, or replacing an old unsafe workbench with a stronger one. Separate. If a hazard cannot be removed or exchanged, the next preferred measure is to control the risk. Separating the hazard from a work area can include clearing an area around the hazard or repositioning the hazard to a contained area. Modify. Modification can prove to be an effective and inexpensive option for controlling a risk. Engineering controls may include modification of tools and equipment, using enclosures or guarding, local exhaust ventilation, or automation. Administrative. Where a health and safety risk cannot be removed or controlled by engineering, administrative controls should be implemented. Administrative controls means introducing work practices which reduce risk. This limits or controls exposure to the hazard. Administrative examples may include rotating jobs, manuals to follow for the use of hazardous chemicals, MSDS records, warning signs and labels, safe work procedures, licensing for high-risk work, example forklift license, or training courses. PPE. Personal protective equipment should only be considered where other measures are not practical. Efforts to remove health and safety risks using removal, exchange, modification and administrative controls should continue. PPE may also be used in combination with other controls. Examples may be protective clothing, example boots, gloves or overalls, the use of sunscreen and sunglasses, masks and breathing apparatus. Additional considerations. In completing a hierarchy of control, employers as well as employees must consider legislative requirements relevant to each hazard. Consider hazard control options that are suitable as well as being within sensible cost restraints if possible. Consider the possibility of short-term alternatives while more permanent measures are planned and factored within the budget. Complete a written plan for controlling all hazards. Nominate the persons responsible for ensuring the plans are implemented. Provide details of the actions to be completed, and identify timeframes and targets to achieve, review and modify the plans.